Hello everyone, my name is Seth, and today I want to give you my review of The Marvels. The Marvels is the latest Marvel movie. It's a sequel to Captain Marvel, and also kind of a sequel to WandaVision, and also kind of a sequel to Miss Marvel. From what I was hearing about the film, based off the trailers as well, I wasn't 100% sure if I would like it. I was going in hopeful I would like it, but I wasn't sure. I ended up liking it. I had a good time with it. However, I do still have some issues. But before I go any farther, go ahead and like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. So like I said, I do like this movie. I had a good time at the theater, but I also do have some issues with it, and I will get into that here. I think this is very much so a run-of-the-mill superhero movie. It doesn't necessarily do anything big, over-the-top, flashy, unique, things like that. It's just like, if I were to tell you, think of comic book movie stuff, just your average, whatever. I mean, that's what you can expect. Like, I had fun, but this isn't like top tier Marvel. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's completely okay for films just to be fine, for you just to go and have a good time. Not every superhero film has to be like a giant, like landscape changing thing. There's not really anything outside of the box here. It's all pretty typical superhero fare, but I had a good time. There's some wacky moments. There's just like some good comic book action, some good like space stuff. Like it's fun. I had a good time. There were a couple things here I thought maybe were a little bit too wacky. There's a couple things that I thought went a little bit too far, but I'm sure some people will love it. But it worked for me for the most part. I also will say that the story isn't really deep. Everything we kind of explore here is sort of surface level. There's not really any deep character analysis or any twists or anything like that. But I still had a good time. There were a couple moments in this film, there's a couple lines that I thought would end up having like a bigger impact on some of the characters in the film, and we really never come back and revisit those. I think there was some really good opportunity here to have some really interesting and good character growth. But unfortunately, I think most of the characters in the movie in a relatively similar place emotionally. I think Captain Marvel is the one that has the most character growth throughout the film, but I really wish we had more time here specifically for things like that. It was only like an hour and 47 minutes, I think, something around there. And typically, I don't complain about the length of movies. I think the length is what it is. A longer movie doesn't mean it's better. A shorter movie doesn't mean it's worse. As long as you can tell your story in a complete and satisfying way, it doesn't matter how long it is. But here, I feel like there's a few things missing. I feel like we needed more time here to focus on our heroes. I would have absolutely loved to have more stuff in this film between Carol and Monica. I think there was a ton of potential there, but I feel like their conflict was resolved relatively quickly and relatively easily. And I feel like there was more to really dig into there. And I saw that Sean Chandler in his review and also on the John Campea show mentioned this as they were talking about the movie. But he said that he felt like this was almost a sequel to a Captain Marvel 2 that we never got. And after seeing the film, I completely agree. When I say I feel like there's just stuff missing, that's kind of what I'm feeling like here. I think the whole thing with whenever they use their powers, they switch places, I think that's very clever. I think it's a good idea. And I like how it's portrayed here for the most part. And I even like how characters like Monica and Kamala, they get in tune a little bit with their powers a little more. And this is also a good opportunity to bring these characters together and really kind of explore their chemistry. I think the villain, unfortunately, is another one of the kind of underwhelming, kind of whatever villains in the MCU. I won't say she's quite as forgettable as a character like Malekith from Thor: The Dark World, but it's really nothing to write home about. Not that her performance was bad, it's just there wasn't much to the character, really. They tried to give a little bit of backstory, but it was just kind of whatever, a little bit forgettable. She's here to move the story forward. She's here to kind of highlight our heroes. She just doesn't really have a lot of depth, but I do think that there was some potential there with her character. I will also say that the mid-credits scene was really, really cool. So if you go see it, make sure you at least stick around for the mid-credits scene. There's no post-credits scene here, so you don't have to wait all the way to the end. You're not going to miss anything. But the mid-credits scene, you got to make sure to stay for that. I think the action in this was a lot of fun, and it was really a highlight of the film. I just wish there was a couple of more sequences. I liked how the action was shot. I liked how we had some of these long takes and getting to see some of these longer takes, some of these fight scenes with these different powers with Miss Marvel and Monica and Captain Marvel. Like, I think this was a really interesting way to shoot the action, and I really liked it. It gave it a good energy about it. And they do a decent job of making sure you know kind of where everyone is. And I gotta say, I think probably my favorite action sequence here was when they all start switching places for the first time. I think the chemistry between Brie Larson, Teyonah Parris, and Iman Vellani are all really, really good. You can tell they had such a great time on set together. But Iman Vellani totally stole the show. Now, I wasn't the biggest fan of the Miss Marvel show. However, I loved her in the show. I thought she was fantastic. And that continues to the movie here. She was fantastic here. I absolutely loved her performance. I loved her character, and she stole the movie for me. I mean, I would go as far to say that she is the best part of the movie. She's fangirling over Captain Marvel and over Nick Fury, and it's just a lot of fun. She's a character that the audience can relate to and can resonate with, and it's just really, really well done, and Iman Vellani's performance is really good. I can't wait to see wherever she shows up next in the MCU. I also gotta say, Kamala's family was great. They were really good comedic relief. Teyonah Parris was good here as well. I really liked her in WandaVision. I think she has a very interesting character, and I like seeing the growth for her character, and I think Teyonah Parris does a really good job portraying that. I just wish she got the opportunity for a few more emotional moments here. And unfortunately, I think Brie Larson was just okay in this. She does a decent job here, but like nothing really stood out to me about her performance other than there was some really kind of odd line deliveries and some kind of odd choices like that. I think this is a good part to talk about the direction, because I think a lot of her performance, I think I kind of have to put it on the director, because Brie Larson is way too talented of an actress just to be fine in something. At minimum, she should at least be good. I feel like the direction was part of any kind of awkwardness there in her performance. So I don't necessarily think that this is a very well-directed film. It was directed by Nia DaCosta. She has also directed Candyman, which I wasn't a fan of Candyman. I just feel like with their feeling like there's things missing here, sometimes it feels rushed. And like I just mentioned, I think Brie Larson is way too talented of an actress. I think this kind of goes back on the director. Again, the only two things I've seen of Nia DaCosta has been Candyman and of the Marvels. And so my thought is maybe she would be better off doing something original, something that she comes up with herself, rather than being a part of a franchise. I unfortunately just don't think that this film was directed very well. I also have to say that Samuel L. Jackson was great in this. He has some really great Nick Fury one-liners. However, I will say my only complaint about that is it seems like this makes more sense either if you have not seen Secret Invasion or you ignore Secret Invasion. So that's a little weird for me. The CGI was good for the most part. There was only like one or two moments that was just a little bit off for me, but nothing that really pulled me out of the story. I did like this film overall. I did have fun. There's some good kind of wacky comic book stuff here. I love the chemistry between the three leads. Iman Vellani absolutely steals the show. However, there's just some kind of story stuff that I can't quite overlook, even though I had fun. So overall, I think I got to give it a 3 out of 5 stars. But now I want to get into a couple of spoilers. So here's your warning. Here's a spoiler warning. I want to be talking about a couple of things in depth. One thing I do want to mention is I feel like around the whole character of Dar-Benn, I feel like the trailers almost started to build her up as like a disciple of Thanos. And I feel like if they went that route, that might would have been a better overall path for the character. And they still could have even weaved in what they had here with Carol destroying the Supreme Intelligence and Hala kind of being in trouble with their natural resources and things like that. I feel like they could have kind of melded those two ideas together. I kind of thought that's what they were going for, and they didn't. I just feel like they could have made her motivations and her actions maybe a little bit stronger. And I thought her end was a little weak. I feel like the final fight maybe was a little bit underwhelming. But we did finally get some more multiverse stuff with them building up the multiverse. We really need to start getting some of this in more things than just like Loki. And I think we will, especially with like Deadpool 3 or something like that. However, it's good to finally start to get a little bit of that. So we got that here with the bands ripping a hole into another universe, Monica having to go close it. And that's where we get the cool post-credit scene. Monica is in some universe with the X-Men. We don't know what exactly it is. Maybe it's the Days of Future Past kind of restored timeline universe. But we do know we got Beast, played by Kelsey Grammer, which was so cool to see. And I think he looked great too. I kind of liked the CGI look instead of the prosthetics look that he's had before. And we got that good moment with her thinking that that's her mom when it's Binary, who appears to be this universe's kind of version of Captain Marvel. So that's really cool. And I can't wait to see where we go from here. Hey everyone, just wanted to pop in here real quick because I can't believe I forgot to mention it in my original recording. But here, it seems like we're getting set up for a Young Avengers project. I loved that scene there with Kate Bishop and Kamala. I think that was really fun. It was a fun homage to the first Iron Man. And I think that could be a lot of fun. I don't know if that would end up being like a Disney Plus like special event or a Disney Plus series. I feel like that's probably where a Young Avengers thing would fit the best. But again, it could be a full film. They've kind of been setting that up with some of the recent projects with Hulk having a son, Ant-Man having a daughter. Like there's plenty of Young Avengers they're kind of been introducing. So I'm excited to see where they end up going with that. But that's it. That's my review of the Marvels. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. Have you seen it? What do you think about it? I would love to have a conversation with you about it. Don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. You can follow me on social media pretty much anywhere, @CinemaSeth, and I'll see you next time.